right to the side sex. Leave the fire and the roof style stuff. I'm on the grind like we're chasing the stars. From Millmore to Do Valley, we've come so far. Talk about legends, yeah, we know the score. Ronnie and Bobby, we remember you more. From the highs of the Wembley fight to losing our trousers, still we ignite. Red and white with the pride, we're never gonna bow. Fighting like middlemen, hear the roar now. We're middlemen, we stand up tall. Through ups and downs, we give it all. From Millmore to Do Valley.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this week's instalment of Midweek Millers on your number one Rotherham United podcast, KV Terrace Talk Millers Edition. I'm your host, Des, as always, and to the right of me, we have our first guest, and that is Pete. Pete, how you doing, sir? And happy birthday for tomorrow, we've just been told.
Yeah, thank you.
Was it 50th?
65th.
65th, yeah. I got it a bit, you look a bit older than that, yeah, to be fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, happy birthday anyway for tomorrow.
Yeah, cheers, I'm all good. Tom and Bez, I've not much to shout about Tuesday, but I expect us not to get out, to be fair, against Luton, so we moved, don't we? See what happens Saturday.
Yeah, fair enough. As you can see there at the bottom, it was Rotherham 0, Luton 2. Obviously, we'll discuss the game in due course, amongst other things. And my other guest tonight, he was Mr. Ever Reliable, and that's Tom. How you doing, Tom?
Yeah, really good, Dave. Happy birthday for tomorrow, Pete. 41 years young, as it were. I was 40 last Friday myself.
Yes, you beat me to it, Tom. I was going to say happy birthday for last Friday, but you've just beaten me to it.
Well, I mean, I was 40 last Friday, nothing planned. All my family failed me, and I just had had a miserable night in at home. So
that doesn't sound too good.
But yeah, looking forward to all
You've got Rotherham United to cheer you up, haven't you?
Oh God, yeah. If sunshine on a rainy day.
Yeah. If anyone's wondering, Lee, I'm not sure what Lee's doing today, but he just told me that he were busy, so he couldn't make it. So we've got lots to discuss, as always. We'll look at the Luton Town game. We will look at the game against Reading coming up. I'm going to discuss some NOMBE, and we're also going to discuss this comment here from Rotherham Gaming, Swiss and Yanks incoming. So we will discuss that. And Rotherham Gaming, hello, sir. How are you? Evening, lads. Yeah, welcome along, as always. So let's start with Luton Town then. I don't think, Pete, you joined the... did you join the aftermatch on Tuesday? I don't think you did you? So
no, I commented.
Yeah, I'll start with you then. So obviously Rotherham 0, Luton 2. From my point of view, I thought, especially the second half, I didn't think it was a terrible performance, if I'm honest. But what were your thoughts? What did you think of the game?
I thought Luton were well drilled, to be fair. Say it's Wilshire's first job like Amshaw's. I thought they were very well drilled, passed the ball well. I thought Adolphin were outstanding at back. We just missed that, don't we? A bit of physical at back. We do miss Adolphin big time, I think.
Great player.
We've not replaced him, have we?
No.
Obviously, we left with, was it Zach Jules and who played Adabega, was it?
Yeah,
it's a proper big jump down in it from Adolphin. But second half, I thought we played very well. I think NOMBE, his head's in it elsewhere, in it. If he has gone out, I won't basically play him. I guess somebody else will go me, to be fair. I won't play NOMBE. We've not else to play for, we? So if he is going, don't play him. Play somebody else. Give one of youngsters a go for me.
Interesting. We will come on to NOMBE, and we'll also discuss Akeem Adolphin as well later on. Yeah. Tom, then, so I know you were on Tuesday, but if I remember correctly, we didn't really talk much about the game because we were too busy arguing about Akeem Adolphin. So what were your thoughts on the game then? Did you see some positivity like I said I did? Because, again, I felt the second half was a decent effort from the team. Obviously, Sam NOMBE, I'm not being funny, how he misses that one chance, I'll never know. It's one of the easiest chance I've ever seen, and he heads it over, heads it down, and either side at keeper, and it's a goal. And Rotherham might come back. Obviously, he missed, and again, we didn't score a goal. So, what were your thoughts on the game?
I mean, we're talking about positives, aren't we? But look, we're talking about a team that has been relegated last Tuesday, a week last Tuesday. So we are only going to look for positives. Let's just say this was mid-season and it was all to play for. I think we'd be going berserk. However, it's the end of this, coming towards the end of the season. We are indeed relegated. And for me, there's players on that pitch who aren't ever going to play for Rotherham United again. So I find it hard to have a positive mentality about players who aren't going to be here next season. First half was crap. Second half, whatever. I don't really care if NOMBE scores or doesn't score. He ain't going to be here next season. He can do one for me. I wouldn't play him this weekend. Won't play him again, along with a lot of them. But having said that, if we're just looking at it through a lens at the game, it were rubbish, mate. And Danny said it on our aftermatch show. They could have had 9 men on the pitch, and we probably wouldn't have scored because we are absolutely woeful. Woeful. The team's got no spine. There's no leaders in that team. There's absolutely nothing. Listen, I wasn't annoyed by the game because, you know what, I was actually quite thankful that the majority of that team that I watched on Tuesday ain't going to be here next season. So they can do one the second this season finishes. I don't want a lap of honour on Saturday. I want that. I don't want them going around clapping, the happy clappers, right? When we lose on Saturday, piss off down the tunnel, right? And get in your car and go home because you do not care. So
there's one player, Tom, who can do it for me. He's Dango. He can go around and get a clap off everybody for me. Rest. Yeah.
Once again, though, Pete ain't going to be here next season. He'll be thinking, "Thank God, this is over."
Yeah.
Thank God. Hopefully, a Bolton or a Stockport pick me up on loan or on permanent next season. And yeah, I completely agree. I know we had a chat on the post match on Saturday, I believe it was, about we could maybe get Dango. Not in League Two, unless, as we'll come on to, Dave, these investors come in and there's a very quick takeover and there's a bit of ambition put into the club. So,
just on Dango, I wanted to ask a few questions when you were talking. Then, Tom, to be fair, the first one was, so both you and Pete said about NOMBE and about not playing for the club and that, maybe you shouldn't play because what's the point? So let me try and spin it around a little bit. So Lee Clark isn't a stupid man, right? And I think a lot of us, and including myself, I've given Lee Clark a little bit of praise in these last week or 10 days because I feel that the performances have actually gradually improved. That's what I see. And because of that, I honestly believe that if Hanshaw was sacked a month earlier, I think it'd have given us a big chance of stopping up by sacking him a month early and bringing Lee Clark in. So I actually do think there is a little bit of positivity there. But as I was saying with Sam NOMBE, so maybe Lee Clark is persisting with Sam NOMBE because there is opportunity for him to be at the club next year. Maybe it is. Yeah. You tell me why Lee Clark is picking Sam NOMBE.
Because I think
nobody else, has he? Nobody else.
Well, there is. He called back Josh Ayres, and you can't say he's not going to play a youngster because he's played James Clark, who, to me, James Clark just looked poor up until Lee Clark had him. He's playing...
So, Dave, what I'll say is that if he doesn't play Sam NOMBE, it devalues Sam NOMBE. So any potential club coming in to sign Sam NOMBE will be thinking, oh, you're not playing him, so you can't rate him, so we'll lowball you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but surely surely another club might be thinking they're not playing him to save him or to stop him risking injury.
The worst thing that could happen, Dave, and you just said it, is if he gets a bad injury. And then
Yes, they don't play him then. Yes, they don't play him then. That's what I'm trying to say.
It's a double-edged sword. What do? Do you play him, put him in the shop window, or do you not play him and devalue him? It's such a hard thing to do because he has been injured this season. So
I don't really think it does devalue him personally. No, I don't know. Like, why does it devalue from not playing? Because a club's not going to think, do you know what, Rotherham's dropped Sam NOMBE, therefore he must be rubbish. They're not going to say that. They're going to think they're not playing him because they obviously want to sell him or they're saving him for the following season. I don't think it devalues him personally. What do you think, Pete?
I don't know. I like NOMBE, but over the last few weeks, it just don't look interested for me. I think he's already been sold, mate. That's what it feels like. He's already gone.
If he's already been sold, then why is Lee Clark playing him then? Surely, because that can't devalue him if he's being sold, because they're not going to agree a fee and then Peter will say, tell you what, you've not played him, so I'm going to reduce what I've offered.
So, Dave, is it integrity towards the league then, in that case? If, let's say we had a hand in beating Luton the other night, Luton did beat us and they're pushing for playoffs, right? I think they're 3 points out. Them and Stevenage or whatever. I think Plymouth are just out of the mix now.
Yeah.
We didn't play our best players. I remember a few years ago, didn't Sam Allardyce get done for fielding a team full of not seasoned professionals? And did the club not get fined? So maybe he has to play him for integrity of the league. So if, let's just say, we beat Luton the other night with Sam NOMBE, or what? I don't know where I'm going with that, but do you know what I'm saying? let's say we did not play Sam NOMBE.
Yeah.
And they rolled us over 2-0, which they did anyway, right? Would there be a backlash because we didn't try and put our best team out?
The thing is, I think if it was like 6 or 7 players who you're not playing, then I'd agree with you, but not for one player. You can easily get away with dropping a play by saying, yeah, he's not fully fit or he's picked up a little niggle or whatever. Like, one play makes no difference, really. In my opinion, anyway.
The starting lineup, we had a young academy graduate in there, Cohen Lee. I mean, look, we probably wouldn't have to say anything because SAS, Roundwood SAS, who dares fails, right, has probably killed all of our players anyway. So we could have put whoever we wanted out. We could have put Miller Bear out up front. I don't think anybody would have said any different, but I mean, I don't know. Sam NOMBE, obviously, we're going to trigger his contract extension. The only way I'll be interested is if we say, oh, you're going nowhere, mate.
But he might do. He might do.
You're part of this. You're getting us back up. And then we'll say bye-bye. What's worth more?
And that's another question. And you just triggered another question for me as well there, Tom. I'll ask Pete then. So we have the option of signing Sam NOMBE for another year, or we could sell it, sign him and sell him, right? Would you risk keeping NOMBE, who could help us get back up into League One, but lose on a free transfer, or would you rather sell him for money now?
If I were Lee Clark, I'd sit him down and I'd go, right, Sam, is your heart in this or not? If he says no, get rid. Simple, innit? I know fans will want him to play and score, but if his heart's not in the club, just get rid of him. If you don't want to be here, just get rid. I don't want players who don't want to be here. I want players who want to play for that badge. Do you know what I mean? So if he wants to go, let him go.
So you'd ask the player and see what his reaction is.
I'd ask him.
Yeah. Okay.
I'd ask him.
I think that's fair enough. And, Tom, look, up to you. Let's discuss Sam NOMBE overall. So, believe it or not, Sam NOMBE is Rotherham United's record transfer, incredibly. So, £1.2 million spent on this lad. Do you think we've got value for money out of him altogether? No. I mean, is he our top goal scorer for probably the last 2-3 years in a row? Possibly. I don't know. I don't think he has to be fair, but he's scored an average of maybe 8 or 9 goals over the last 3 years, I'd say. So yeah, thoughts on him as a transfer record for the club? Waste of money in your opinion?
You talk about the transfer record, which is let's be honest, is quite small amounts in the Championship, obviously the Premier League. No, not for me. I think he has not lived up to his hype. Granted, Matt Taylor got him in, brought him in from Exeter because obviously he managed him. 1.2 million quid. I mean, you look at the strikers we've had over the years: Mark Robbins, Alan Lee, Richard Barker, Adam Lefondre, Michael Smith, who was in Bury Reserves. You look at Kieran Agard, right? Does Sam Nombe, right? Is he even in the conversation with any of those players I've just mentioned?
I don't think so, no.
He isn't, is he? He isn't. And yet he is our record transfer. Record transfer. I believe before that, our record transfer, was he not Jordan Bowery from Villa?
Not sure. I don't know. I thought it was Teehee, to be fair. Christ Teehee, I thought it was at one point. But I don't know. I think we jumped from
Bowery was a record transfer at one point.
We broke it twice that season with T and Nombe, didn't we?
We did, yeah. That's what I thought we did, yeah. I think that's right.
That was an absolute disaster, although I rate him as a player, and he certainly helped us. But he got homesick, and there was that whole kerfuffle with him getting a visa to even come and play for us.
Yeah.
Is there any other club? Have you ever heard any other club saying, "Oh, we've got visa issues," to try and get a player to come and play for us? Sam Nombe, £1.2 million. Has he given us a return? Absolutely not. Are we going to get 1.2 million or plus for Sam Nombe next season? Of course we're not. He's going to go for £500,000. Fact. And he'll go to Peterborough or whatever.
And you know what is a bit worrying. So obviously, I know we're going to talk about the investment a little bit later on, but we know that Tony Stewart's not he's not the best at, putting in loads of money to sign players. And it seems that every time Tony Stewart does seem to spend money on a lot of money on a player, he does always seem to go backwards for him. And it always worries me that because he's took a gamble on, for example, Sam Nombe, 1.2 million, it's not worked, he's not going to do it again, is it? Does that concern you at all, P, or not really?
Not really. I don't think we'll spend big again, to be honest. I think that'll be for ages.
Ever again in your life?
Well, obviously it's football moves on, doesn't it, with money and stuff, but I don't think we'll spend that money for the next 5-6 years. I mean,
right.
Unless Stewart's gone.
What did Ollie Rathbone get sold for?
Not a lot. 300 grand, wasn't it? Yeah, a lot.
So Ollie Rathbone now, what would you say he's worth now?
1.5 million, I'd say.
More. I'd say 3 million.
The reason he's not more is because he's about 28 now, 27, 28. He's not older. And he has got a bit of quality. I'm not saying he's not, but his best, if you like, attribute is his work rate and kind of getting stuck in. And that, I don't think that costs a lot of money these days. So I think Wrexham would sell him. Like, for example, I'll tell you what, Tom. If Wrexham got Fred to Premier League, I bet they sell him for no more than 1.5 million to a Championship club.
No, I think if Wrexham got promoted to the Premier League, he'd be a squad player, and then if he wasn't happy, he'd go out on loan. Certainly, I think any club who are looking to get in and around the playoffs would pay the 3 million for him because he's a match winner, he's a grafter, he's an absolute. Honestly, I cannot believe we sold him for that to them.
Okay.
As soon as they came saying, we want Ollie Rathbone, I'd have been going, right, hang on. Wrexham want Ollie Rathbone. There's a process here, right? Why do you want him? What reasons do you want Ollie Rathbone? And why? What price are you willing to pay? Because they knew. Because obviously they've got the money. They know. He's left-footed. He's right-footed. He's an absolute graft. Imagine what we could have done with Ollie Rathbone this season. He's a leader.
He is, yeah.
He's everything that we this club needed this season and last season, right? Yeah, we might have lost him at the end of last season, but Jesus Christ, as soon as Wrexham comes sniffing, right, you know you've got a player on your hands, and we let him go for peanuts. So
Again,
it's not failing from the ball.
Just a few comments, and I've got a little game for you. Wayne, nothing will happen. TS going away for 4 weeks. Okay. Again, we'll talk about that in a little while. Wayne, Neil Brinton, we vetted off with Rotherham played Jordan Ayres. Final 2 matches to give you. Josh Ayres, yeah. I mean, I've already, to be fair, Neil, that's what we were kind of discussing, 10 minutes ago, because like if some NOMBE is definitely leaving and the manager knows that, I'm surprised that he's not playing Ayres. Now, for me, I don't want to kind of pound on the lad. I think Josh Ayres is nowhere near good enough. I think Josh Ayres, honestly, I'm not taking a mick. I think Josh Ayres is probably a National League North player, a quality player. And that's why I think he's not playing. The fact that he's brought in the James Clark and the midfielder, forgot his name. Those midfielders.
Cohen Lee.
The fact that he's brought in, James Clark, Cohen Lee in, and let's face it, Cohen Lee, no one's ever heard of. He's not been on any benches or anything. Not even in the squad when he played like the EFL Trophy. I think that Josh Ayres, he's seen him and thought he's not good enough, and that's why he's probably not playing. Now, what I would say actually, I've always liked. I've said it before. I've always liked Gardner. And he's a striker, so I actually want to see Gardner up front personally. Drop NOMBE if he's not going to be and play Gardner. That's what I would say. Willett, it'll be 10 bob and a bag of crotch scratchings. It'll be nowhere near 500k. Yeah, I get you. What you're saying there, Wills. I personally think it will be 500k because Tony Stewart is not. To me, with Tony Stewart, you don't normally. I know Rathbones have had an example of him doing this, but Tony Stewart normally don't sell players for. Especially when they're supposed to have better players for cheap. Like, he got, a lot for Will Vaulks, he got a lot for Sammy Ajayi, he got a lot for Danny Ward. I don't think he does generally sell for peanuts. I don't think anyway. Wayne, we got a lot more money for him. I'm not sure what he's saying there. Right, the game then. So I have got, right, on Transfer Market, I've got Rotherham's top 10 record signings. So obviously you both know number one, which is Sam NOMBE, according to sort of 1.1 million, so it's there or thereabouts. And to be fair, Tom has already mentioned number 10, which is Jordan Bowery, and that was 300 grand. So there are 8 players in between. So I will let you each have a go to see if you can get these. So I'll start with you, P. Who's your guess?
So number 10's Jordan Bowery at 300k.
Yes, correct.
So they're all eyes on that.
I'm warning you. There's at least one in here where I'm thinking I had no idea we're voting for that much money. I don't think you'll get it. But you go first, Pete.
Actually, Chris T. Is he second?
He's third at 600k. It's your turn now, Tom. Yeah.
600k. Jesus Christ.
Your turn, Tom. There is another player who cost 600k as well.
Right, okay. I'm thinking about the top 10. Barlasser has to be in there.
He's number 2, 780k, which I didn't realise that much.
780k for Dan Barlasser. Right,
How
fair
much?
enough.
Yeah, 780. Yeah, your turn, Pete.
Danny Ward.
480 grand. Well done. Tom.
Hakeem Duffy.
No, I'm afraid he's not in there.
Wow.
Yeah, I think you're a free transfer. To be fair,
Lee Frecklington.
Lee Frecklington is not there. Did he cost? He's not even in top 25 according to this.
Is he? Jesus.
He was 150k, I thought, Lee Frecklington. Let's just see if he's in page 2. Just give us a minute, Lee Frecklington. He must be. No, he's not there. I don't know. He's not on there for some reason. He's not on there. Who do you say? Dexter Blackstock is a no. Do you want me to just tell you now? Do you want me to tell you who they are?
Yeah, go on.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, Nombe 1.1, Barlassa 780, Chris Teehee 600, John Taylor 600. Freddie
John Taylor,
yeah, John Taylor did cost a lot. He did, yeah.
Right.
Freddie Ladapo 560. Danny Ward, you said. Will Volks 475. Now, these next two, I can't believe. Number 8 was Ben Peerington, 350. And number 9 was Ronnie Moore's son, 350. Yeah.
I thought you were free.
I didn't really think, I didn't know that, to be fair. But yeah.
Ian Moore's well before all of those as well. So
you see,
inflation.
That was in. Does it say? Yeah, that was in 2010-11. That.
Running so in charge, wasn't it?
A big fee, that. Yeah.
He scored an hat-trick after he got sacked.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, right. Just one more thing I want to talk about. That's what again Tom mentioned, and it's quickly Dango. So obviously, I believe 2 or 3 weeks ago we all sat here and said 0 chance that Dango signs for this football club, but because of what Lee's kind of said and what I've seen on the pitch, and let's face it, his injury record's still not great. He has played well, but he don't get assists, don't get goals. So I actually have a feeling there is a chance beside him. I'll start with you, Pete. Do you think there's a chance we'll sign him? He's on a free. Man U are going to release him. That is true. Apparently, he enjoys being at Rotherham. So what do you think? Any chance?
I'll tell you where he'll definitely end up at is Sheffield Wednesday, 100%.
Really?
Yeah.
He'll
end up there. He's going to end up there like rest of them do.
I know, but so Sheffield Wednesday have got no money, right? And also, they can't sign players for money, and they can only offer a maximum wage, which I think is $7,000. So
still more than us, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah. I hope you're wrong. I mean, that would be disastrous. Tom, do you agree with that? He'll go to Sheffield Wednesday?
I hope he doesn't, because they're going to start on -15 next season anyway, by all accounts. So they're all already on the back foot with still no new owner in charge.
I think they'll be all right.
I think they'll be okay, Pete.
They'll come out smelling roses, mate. They always do. So
yeah, exactly. If they fall into a barrel full of tits, they come out sucking their own thumb.
This is interesting, though, from Adam. So Adam said, what about the console, which we'll talk about in a minute? Dango should be giving Hugo's wages. So obviously, we all know Hugo's on big wages. Would you offer him that? I mean, I'll be honest, I don't think Rotherham will offer those wages in League Two. But, Hugo probably will leave. Although, again, we'll discuss that probably in another show about who's leaving and who's not. But if he does, maybe Dango gets his wages. Thoughts on that just quickly?
Make him captain.
So you think by making him captain, that'll entice him, if you like, to...
sell it to him, build the team around him. You're the main man, stuff like that, what he wants to hear. Then we might have half a chance.
I agree.
But if somebody else comes stiff and was bigger, he's going to go there, mate, isn't he? Money talks end of the day.
I mean, according to Jeff Lloyd, sorry, Tom, goes contracted till 2028. So what are you going to say, Tom? I'll just check that while you're going to say what you're going to say.
I mean, the only way we get Dango, alluding to what Pete was just saying then, is first and foremost, we make him captain. We build the team around him. We offer him a very decent wage and say, you are the future of this football club and you have a say in what goes on. Sadly, that's not going to happen. I believe Dango will end up at one of either, and I've said this previously, Stockport County or Bolton Wanderers. Personally,
local, isn't it? Yeah.
If you would go to Sheffield Wednesday, I think Bushy would have a meltdown. I personally wouldn't, because let's not beat around the bush. No pun intended. Wednesday are a bigger club, and they can probably, if they do get took over, they are going to be on -15 points next season, owing to the fact that the club's getting sold so cheap. because it was sold anymore. We're putting money in Chansiri's pockets. A lot of politics around that. But no, I'd love Dango. I'd love him to be there. But I think what we need as a team, we need to, certainly in the recruitment, we need a no-nonsense centre-half, a no-nonsense goalkeeper, a no-nonsense midfielder, and a striker that we can rely on. And then you build around that. Dango, for me, is not staying with Rotherham.
Okay.
No matter how much he likes Parkgate Shopping Centre or whatever, or going to Medwall to the cinemas or whatever, I don't know, right? Personally, I'd love him to stay, but I think he holds all the cards if he does want to stay. Yeah. We'd have to offer him an awful lot.
Yeah. Okay.
But having said that, if we have a new investment and they say, right, you're our man, right? Maybe. You never know.
Yeah.
One of them.
Right, let's move on then. So a few more comments. Russ, evening lads. We have a history of letting go of players for note to note, next to nothing, Sean, go to stretching back and then on and on. And yeah, Ross, I do agree with that. All I was saying was we have also had it the other way around where we have got money for players. Well, you know, I really rated Will Buxton. I think we got $2.5 million for him. And this was like 5 years ago when, as I think Tom said, or Pierre, I can't remember which one it were, about, you know, money now is worth a lot more now than it was 5, 10, 6, 15 years ago. So the fact we got $2.5 million, I think, for Will Vaux, I thought was excellent. We've done that one, yeah. Jeff, just to confirm, I have checked. He is out of contract this year. I've just checked, and if you type in Dango contract, the first post on Google is an article about Manchester United and the fact that Dango is out of contract. So yeah, Wayne will go to MK Dons. I'd actually say you don't really fit someone like Paul Warne's style. I mean, I actually was surprised when we signed Barlaser in a way, because that's sort of style that Paul Warne normally goes for. Obviously, he's more a direct manager. I guess in Dan Barlaser could pick up the ball and straight 30 yards, which is what Warne wanted. Dango's not really like that. He's a bit of a busy midfielder who's got a bit of everything. I just don't think he'll suit a Paul Warne side. That's just my honest opinion. Rotherham game is 17 players leaving. Yeah, I think there'll be a lot. We will. Once the season ends, we'll probably go through that before we get
we'll throw a party. That's what we'll do.
Yeah, before we get the retain list, we will give our opinions on who we think will go and who will stay, and then obviously we'll review after the retain list is out. Adam, too quiet to be a captain. I knew he was my new captain, but I'd give it to a loudmouth. And to be fair, Pete, I was going to say the same thing. I get your point, trying to attract him here, but do you think he has got his captain material in him?
He could step up into that role. You don't know, do you? You don't know what goes off behind scenes. It could be a mouth in dressing room for all we know. We don't know, do we?
Okay. Yeah, you're right.
All I know is that there is 0 leaders currently. Take Dango out of the conversation.
We know that. Yeah. Let's not go over that again. Yeah, we do know that. Right. Ross. Apparently, Pigs 34,000 set last home speaks volumes. Yeah, that's brilliant. That Rusty, fair to them. And look, no matter what you say about Sheff Wednesday, the sport is decent. Now, it's funny that me and Bushy had an argument about Wednesday on the championship predictions. And do you know that Wednesday aren't actually followed as good as you think? If you look at their average attendance when they're in the Premier League, they're only getting about 27,000, you know. That was what they were averaging when they're in Premier League. I checked it earlier. And honestly, I saw me full the face. Have a look yourself. Promise me. Have a look when you get time and look at Wednesday's average attendances. It were only about 27,000 in Prem.
But Dave, would that not be to do with, forgive me, the Hillsborough disaster?
No, because the ground still held 39,000.
Yeah, but
so it was only I reckon around late 2000, maybe 2015, when they reduced the ground because of obviously the danger. They were definitely 39,000 when they're in the Premier League. I'm telling you.
Yeah, but didn't Leppings Lane or Leppings End, did that not get shut for a period of time?
No, it just
didn't.
It did get. I think it got shut that season, but they obviously removed the pens, and don't forget they installed seating quite quickly. You know,
Right,
every
fair
time
enough.
Rotherham's been there, so even the first time, which was like late early 2000, it was seating then. So I think Rotherham played Wednesday, and I want to say 2001, and it was seating then in Leffings Lane.
Aye, but they weren't Prem at that time, were they? They
No,
weren't
they were doing championship. Yeah. I'd have to have a look, to be fair. I mean, you can look if you want. I don't really know. I mean, I was trying to say that the average crowd, I mean, what I think I will say is that was, 30 years ago. So 28,000 at that point actually is probably good because it was 30 years ago. I think Man United were probably averaging 40 or 50 at that point. So 27, sorry, it's probably not that bad.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. Anyway, let's move on. Adam, Jeff is incorrect. He's out of contract June 26th. Man United. So yeah, we've just said that, Adam. Thanks. Right, let's move on. So everyone wants to talk about this, so let's talk about it. Potential investment stroke potential takeover. Now, I've not heard a lot myself. Obviously, we had Lee giving us a little bit of information. When I've been at the game, some fans are giving information, but no one really knows. So I'll start with you, Pete, then. So the rumour is that we've got Swiss investors who are coming to the game on Saturday, and they are looking to, I believe, invest, not take over, just invest. So number one, do you believe it? And number two, what do you think to it?
I think there's some truth in it. Us local journalists won't come out and say it, would they?
Yeah, you're
right.
It's
Paul Davis. I know it's Paul Davis, but I don't think they'll come out and say stuff like that. And that's why I think they're getting Steve McLaren on board as well, if that's true. I think they're waiting for the investment to come in so we can afford to pay Steve McLaren, because Tony Stewart on his own can't afford Steve McLaren, can he? So I think this is why this consortium's coming in and they're bringing Steve McLaren with him. That's what I think anyway. That's my personal opinion. And if it does happen, it's going to sell season tickets, in it.
Okay, so how many season tickets do you think they'll sell if it happens? So we're on about 6.5. I think I said that I thought it had dropped to about 4,000. That was my honest opinion. I've heard a lot of my friends reckon it'll be lower. They reckon it'll be more like 3. So what are your, how many tickets do you think that'll sell?
I think if they pull this off, new investors, Steve McLaren, and get players coming through the door, I think it'll drop to about 5. Not as low as that, me. Because people will be excited, won't they? I want some of that, I want some of that. It happens every year, doesn't it? They always try and sell us something. Every club does it.
And so do you think that we will see some of this finance injected into the playing squad?
They've got to, haven't they? They have to, mate. Obviously, they might new training ground. We don't know what they're going to do. We don't know how much they're worth, what they're going to spend. But I think it will pull out. I think we will get some sort of investment. I think it's nailed on this time.
Okay. And just last question for yourself. I'll move on to Tom. Will Tony Stewart still be in charge this time next season?
No, I think they'll buy Tony Stewart out if it all goes well. I think they'll buy all shares, get everybody out, and they'll be end up running club. That's what I personally think.
Okay, Tom. So again, as I said, I don't know a lot about it. Obviously, Pete's given his view. What's your view? So, do you believe it first of all, and what's your views on it?
Well, I believe it because obviously the local newspaper has reported it, and obviously they are very they don't report everything. So first and foremost, obviously Paul Davis has been told to report this. It's not a scoop that he's got. He's been told to report it. So
who buy the club? The club.
I can only assume, mate, because they're wanting positive spin. They're wanting season ticket sales. So potential investors this weekend, a Swiss group are getting shown around. I spoke with Adam on the phone before this show. He says that Phil Smith is showing them around Rotherham. I think if Paul Douglas was showing the Swiss people around, they would be on the first flight back to Zurich, to be honest with you. So I think Phil Smith, as much as we've criticised him, I think he's probably got a bit of a salesman attitude, and they can probably say things because obviously if Douglas was there. He clocks off at 5 and goes home and watches the Apprentice or whatever. So yeah, I believe in the investment. Swiss, good people, nice place, lovely place.
I'm doing some chocolate with him.
Expensive, but what I will say, all the best bankers are Swiss, aren't they?
They are, yeah. So Tom, I asked Pete these questions to ask you as well. So, do you think that us fans will see some of these finances injected into the playing squad? Yes or no?
Well, they have to, don't they, Dave? These Swiss people will. I think the very fact that it's been reported on a local newspaper means that it means business. I would not be surprised if Phil Smith has contacted said advertiser or whatever to say, report this, let's get it built up. And then, new investment. Oh, by the way, season tickets are out for renewal. Let's all buy season tickets because we're going to get promoted. So I think out of all these years, gents, I think it's probably the most promising news that we've heard in a sense of a takeover. Whether or not it comes to fruition is another thing. But certainly, if they were to put in massive investment, or not say massive investment, I think it would put fans in a place where they think, right, here we go. Let's go and win League Two. Let's shoot.
Okay. So Tom, then let's pretend I'm a cynical Rotherham fan, right? And you come up to me, you say, Bez, we've got these new investors. They're 100% coming because they've been shown around on Saturday, and even the local press have reported it. And I then say to you, Tom, this is the 50th time I've heard this in the last 10 years. You know, I get someone every year coming to me and saying, this is happening, that's happening. They're showing around club, right? Guess what? A month later, a year later, it's still Tony Stewart. There's still not money being put into the playing squad. We're still heading down towards the conference. What can you tell me to convince me that this is happening?
Well, to my knowledge, Dave, it's the first time that the local journalist has reported this.
He has. No, what I'm saying is, I'm sure that Paul Davis has reported like not necessarily a consortium, but he said something. He said something like there are interested parties in investing. I'm sure he's used that line in one of his papers, one of his articles.
Yeah, but he's officially said that they're coming to look at the club this weekend.
So what he said then, because I'm sure I'm not saying he said exactly, someone from America's come or anything like that, but I'm sure he's still done something or said something very similar.
He's done something post people coming. He's never said here. They're looking at it. What he's doing now is he's saying these people are coming. They're looking at it. What he's done in the past is people came, people didn't like. People flew the fuck off, right? Sorry, I'm swearing. Apologies, no swearing. Right, so he's actually saying now, which I think he's been told to say, I might add, people are coming to look at the club this weekend.
Okay.
Whereas in the past, he said people have come and looked and just done one. So
last question then, Tom. As I asked Pete, will Tony Stewart be our chairman this time next year?
Nope.
Okay.
Or as the saying goes, Bez, believe it when you see it.
Yeah, and someone's talked about which we're going to see in a minute. So let's get through some comments. So, Russ first. The old crow's nest in Corner Hills increased the attendance, but not in use. So, yeah, I know what you mean, Russ. It was that kind of corner stand. I didn't realize it was called the old crow's nest, but that corner stand was definitely stopped. But I'd have thought that's only 500 fans, but I don't know. As I said, Wayne Early, when I see it, I think Wayne's very negative, I think, when it comes to Rotherham, to be fair. And then when I asked about, I think that was with me referring to or asking the question, will the investment go into the playing squad? And he said no. Fair enough. Adam, TS is gone. Is Richard I think Richard Stewart's interested. He's trying to say that Richard Stewart is now the chairman. I get that. TS is still there though, Adam. Phil's 100% taking charge with investors. Okay, fair enough.
I'm happy if Phil. I'm happy that Phil Smith's showing him round though, and nobody else.
He's more of a seller.
Yeah, I'd rather have,
Imagine.
Yeah. Well, you catch his Douglas, can't you? Like he's showing him around, and then. Well, I'm sorry, it's 5 o'clock. I'm going to have to get off. You have to walk.
This is where I go for a kip. So go for my siesta in the afternoon.
Yeah. We'll be gone by June. I don't know if he means Tony Stewart there. Could do. I don't know. Is that what you mean? Do you think Tony Stewart will be gone by June? Let's let us know.
Honestly, I think they're selling. I think the fact it's been reported, it's like a slow process.
Writings aren't wall,
it sold.
Lewis, evening. Do you think Phil Smith will buy the club with these Swiss people as extra investment? Pete, thoughts on that?
I think he will be involved in some bits, Phil Smith, yeah.
But do you think he'll be the chairman?
No, I don't know. I don't think so.
Well,
no.
It's obviously
I don't know.
Dave.
I don't know.
I think this is the thing, though. So Phil Smith has come in, hasn't he, to try and get investment, and he's on a non-paid job. So surely he's not going to continue that non-paid job forever. He either leaves the club or he takes a paying job up.
They could make a role for him. I don't know if he'll be chairman or not. Depends who these Swiss people are, doesn't it?
So okay, Pete, do you think Phil Smith at the club, so ignore what you said earlier about you're glad it's Phil Smith showing him around, because I agree. He's obviously got a bit more about him, a bit more personality than Douglas has. So ignoring that, do you think that Phil Smith is a good person to have in the club or not?
Yeah, I think he speaks well, me, to be fair.
Okay. Tom, what are your thoughts quickly on Phil Smith?
Well, it's no coincidence that Phil Smith's come in and spoke about his favourite cream egg or whatever. And now we're now getting reports from the advertiser that there's some Swiss people coming to have a look at Rotherham this weekend, which he's going to show around. Hopefully it doesn't take them around the worst bits of Rotherham.
Roundwood.
Roundwood, exactly. Also interesting that the managers come out and called out a lot of stuff today. Listen, the fact that it's getting reported and not getting reported is a positive sign for me. So yeah, I don't know what's going on with Uncle Phil. I have no idea.
Let me ask you this, right? So earlier, I was having a debate with my mate about the situation, right? So I basically said on a group chat, I said, looks like the rumours regarding the new Swiss investors are true, because Paul Davis has written an article about it and about them coming on Saturday. Then my mate replied, won't it be great, though, if they turn up Saturday, because I don't think there'll be a crowd of more than 3,500, okay? So I then said, I don't think a low crowd will have any effect. As we said a few weeks ago, it's the perfect time for someone to buy or invest in the club because Rotherham are in League Two. So then he said, and this is what I want you to respond to. I'll start with you, Pete. He said, is it a good time to invest? ? We don't own the ground. We don't own the training ground. We have hardly any sellable assets as players. The club loses £6 million a year in League One, which will increase in League Two. Crowds next year will be down to 5k next year, and the club will be trying to avoid relegation to the National League. It's not a great prospect. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, what you've said there, Nevo or Wrexham at National League, they were getting 2,000 at home, weren't they? Investment come. Wrexham.
Yeah, Wrexham,
They were worse off. Obviously, investment comes, and it's a project, innit? So you build yourself up, getting better and better every year.
Yeah.
So it could be a big project for these Swiss people, and they might want to take the gamble and try and take us as far as they can. You don't know, do you?
But why do you think they're going to come in then? Is that message says, Rotherham, the football club own nothing. So they're going to come in and say, we'll invest, but the ground is owned by Stewart, the training ground is owned by Stewart. So what's the reason? What's the reason they could come in? So it's like, what reason can you give me to suggest why a consortium would come in the first place?
I don't know. They just might want to buy a football club. I don't know, mate. It's $1 million question, isn't it? It's $1 million question. Nobody knows, mate.
I said my reply was basically that it is still the cheapest year to buy them because look, a club in League Two is a lot cheaper than a club in the Championship, and history tells us that this football club are traditionally a top League One stroke Championship team. So these could come in at a value of, I don't know, I'm making numbers up, £1 million in League Two, but then they're worth £10 million in the Championship, and they could sell and they've made £9 million. Is an argument. So that's the response I kind of had. So I just thought I'd try and ask and see what you guys
obviously,
think.
Foundations are there, aren't there? There's a ground. They don't have to build a ground. That's already there for them, isn't it?
I agree.
So everything's there for them. So I don't know, mate. Yeah, we'll have to see, won't we?
Right, King Bush. He did say it before American Investor. So he's on about Paul Davis, and this is what I was trying to allude to because I felt he did say something with another.
Yeah, didn't they go Plymouth then? Didn't they end up going to Plymouth? Didn't they end up going to Plymouth from American Investment?
I don't know. If Lee's still listening, we'll see what he says.
Yeah.
Well, wasn't that though? And forgive me, Lee. Did that not come out after they've looked?
Yeah, it did.
What I'm saying is, we're getting told somebody's coming to look, not after they've looked.
Okay.
Do you know
we'll see what Lee says. We'll see what Lee says. Media Spin heard the Swizz. I don't know what that means. Adam, Tony Street is still chairman. Yeah, we said that to him as well, Lee. Wayne Earl was yes. That's when I was asking him about if Tony Street will be gone by June. He thinks yes. TS isn't selling Wake Up Lads. Interesting. And the thing is, though, what happens if Tony Stewart dies? What would happen then? I'm not that might sound horrible, but it is something that could happen. He's getting quite old now. TS will be gone by June. Yeah, you've said that. Lads, investment and buying is two different things. Yes, the Swiss have already been, and I'm not sure what he's going to say. So he's saying I thought they'd already been as well. To be fair,
we'll see again. It's a good thing, isn't it? I suppose if they're coming again.
Oh, mate, yeah, they're coming back.
Yeah, sucker for punishment, aren't they?
I mean, the thing is, does anyone know if these, do these, does this consortium actually have money to spend? Does anyone even know?
Well,
they know what they are.
Nobody knows, do they? But it's obviously been organised by Phil Smith, hasn't it? There's no.
Yeah.
It's obviously Phil Smith has contacted these people. So.
Okay. And to be fair, money tends to know money, as in, I'm friends with Tom here who hasn't got any money. I don't know Tom if you have really. Just joking. But Phil Smith, he will have friends who are, rich and what have you. So maybe, there is that. Pulled out its spin. I'm not. Yes, the Swiss have already been and pulled out its spin. I'm not really sure what that's saying. That's about Tom Swift. How much longer until they confirm Lee Clark as boss or decide they are pursuing the revenues? Last thing we need is to fall behind the transfer. And Tom, I fully agree. No one really knows if Lee Clark's going to manage yet. And we'll have a quick chat about Lee Clark. I know we're going to do this probably on every podcast now until a decision's made. But Tom, are you a Lee Clark in man or a Lee Clark out man?
Yeah, I'd give him a 12-month contract, mate. 12-month. I'll let him oversee the nonsense. Get rid of the absolute shower that other players within our club. And then next season, depending on recruitment, depending on board, see where we go. And if it is going absolute shite, 20-odd games in, see you later, mate, and we'll go again.
Okay. Pete, are you a Lee Clark in or a Lee Clark out?
In. Game ago. I think he's already got a job, to be fair, for next season. I think he's nailed them. He speaks, retain list and all this. I think he'll be here next year anyway. So give him a chance. Yeah, he speaks well. I think he's all right. Yeah, give him a go.
Yeah, I think, my thoughts are obviously 2 weeks ago, I was 100% no. But I have to say, it's won me over slightly. So if Lee Clark got the job, I'd be like, yeah, okay. I'd be okay with it, but he's not my number one target still. Like, I still think his mind's out there. Like, I'm going to sound silly now when I say this, but there's going to be a manager available soon who I would love Rotherham to go and get, and that is the Leicester City manager. Because he won't be there next season. So I pray that we get, and I forgot his name, who's Guy Rowett. I think there's a chance we can get Guy Rowett. I really do. I know you've already read their feet. I just think there's a chance. Like, the thing with Tony Stewart is he does sometimes pull a big manager out. He does. Like, no one expected Steve Evans to come back. You know, Stevens on the up, Rotherham on the down. So technically, Steve Evans left a higher almost team to come to a lower team because they were way up there. He could have got them the playoffs that year and therefore proceeded to the championship. Obviously, he left before the end of the season. So is this a season where Stewart could just pull a big manager out or not? Do you think no, Pete?
Anti-tenders down many a times before Rowett though. Over in the championship.
I think he has, to be fair.
So
maybe
League Two.
His stock has lowered now, though, hasn't it?
Exactly.
Well,
exactly. Yeah.
Leicester,
they're on the way. They were falling anyway, weren't they, Leicester, really?
And stuff. He's renowned for keeping teams up, and that's gone now. You know, you're a team in lower, you know, you're going bottom three, and you want to put a manager who keeps you up. You're not going to pick Guy right now, are you? Because he's stuck someone down.
Rotherham.
Okay.
That's the only truth.
I agree with Pete. I don't think he would, but I can see where Bez is coming from. Definitely.
Fair enough. Adam, plus we're 4.6 million on L2. I think he means in L2, as opposed to 7.9 in the League One. But I've never said he's gone. He's just giving control away. Okay. Lewis. So they're Swiss Americans or what's Americans on the season? Yeah, the Americans were really running the season as well. That might have been a year ago, actually. Yeah, it's just the Swiss at the minute, unfortunately. Wayne Hill, if it's true about these investors, they would want their own money. Thoughts on that, Tom?
Well, obviously, of course you do. When you come in as an investor, you do everything you can. You look at Wrexham, they came in, they didn't like whoever was gaffer at the time, brought in Phil Parkinson, who was, he managed levels above. It's the same with anything, isn't it? You come in, you're not going to go, you keep the job. We've got his own man. Same with Steve Bruce at Newcastle United. The Saudis bought Newcastle. Awful place. And then obviously they've got their own man in. So it is what it is. So listen, end of the day, as far as we're aware as Rotherham United supporters, Clark's here until Wickham, and after that, he's out of a job.
You do realise that Wayne is there suggesting that it won't be Clark at all. So are you agreeing with him then, Tom?
Yeah, I think they'd want their own man in. Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah. You want
your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on that, Pete?
We're so far away from that, aren't we? The club has
not
to
really. I think. Look, we've only got 2 games left at season, a decision on Lee Clark has to be made really by the end of May, I'd say. So you've got 1 month to make that decision, and these investors, I imagine, will know if they're investing or not within the next 2 or 3 months. I'd say.
Well, that's what I mean. So first and foremost, they've got to invest.
Yeah.
Secondly, they have to then say, right, do one, NOMBE, right? And then they've got to find the man. It's a process. It's a process. Okay. Like I say, and like Bushy was saying, club ain't for sale. Tony Stewart's in charge. Whatever, right? So these investors might come in and take, we don't know, 8% of the club. Do you know what I mean? And they're not going to be majority shareholders. Depends what they're going to put in, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
It'll still be Tony Stewart's final say, ain't it? So if he wants Lee Clark, they'll keep Lee Clark. They're already investing. They're not running the club, either. So that's what I say.
Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. Lewis, have you seen the handicap rumour? No, I've not. But if it's a rumour about him coming to Rotherham, I'd like that. I'd rate him.
About 36, though, isn't
he?
I know, but you can't say anything because you were talking about the Bromley kid.
I'm just saying he's 36.
Yeah, he is. I don't mind Andy Cook. I'd rather have Andy Cook than that Bromley player, personally. Right, Tom Smith. The recruitment team needs a complete revamp. The last 6 transfers over the last 4 years have been 85% failure. Rob Scott needs replacing. Pete, thoughts on that?
The thing is with Rob Scott, he's only working to budget what he's got, and he can't go around throwing millions at players. He can work with what he's got. And like you said when he had that interview, he's doing jobs he shouldn't be doing. So he can't concentrate on jobs he should be doing. So I don't know. I'm 50-50 with that, with Rob Scott.
I'll say where I am. I actually quite like Rob Scott as a recruitment manager, or head of recruitment, what you want to call them. You're right, Tom. It looks like we've brought in 20 players this season, or 20 plus players this season, and a lot of them haven't really worked out. But one thing that we've all said on this podcast is that every player, or a lot of the players that we've brought in, we can see some quality. Dan Gore, we've all rated Dan Gore, for example. Denzel Hall, the first 3 months of the season, Denzel Hall was being touted as like player at seas already, and he's going to be in championship soon. And obviously the famous Paul Davis quote, "Enjoy them while they're here," kind of thing. And to fair to Paul Davis, it's because some of these players were actually playing really well, especially in that first quarter of the season. So I actually think that the players that were brought in this season, I think some of them were good. I just think that Hanshaw didn't use them correctly. That would be my thoughts. And I've always said that sometimes it's difficult to kind of point the finger at Rob Scott, because he can bring a player in who's really good, and we play him and the fans watch him. The fans say he's not very good. Well, Rob Scott could say, yeah, but I brought this player in to do this job and you're not making him do that job. So he can almost be blameless. The reason I would like Rob Scott to stay is because I actually think if we replaced him, it might be a lot worse. Rob Scott has still brought in a lot of good players, like Benny, for example. Well, Lassie is another example. So I personally would keep him, because I just think there'd be worse out there.
His hands are tied with budget, mate, aren't they?
And that as well, yeah.
He's got a budget. His hands are tied. He's got no staff, so he can't really play
as well.
through
He's
things,
only got a couple of scouts, hasn't he? And in that role, you probably need. I bet there's an average of 4 or 5 scouts per club in League One, and we've only got a couple. So, yeah, agree with Pete there. Tom, more chance of American Swiss cheese being at the New York. Yeah, that's true. Lewis, do you think Denzel Hall will stay next season? Tom, what do you think? I think he will. I think he will.
No, I don't. No.
He's in contract, so what if you're laughing to him, Tom?
Well, I've heard he's going Leicester, isn't he?
What?
I've heard that. I've heard
he's going Leicester City.
Oh, yeah, okay. If that's true, I've raised £1 million. It can't be true, that. Can't be true.
It's just what I've heard. I don't think he will be with us. No chance.
Okay. I mean, he's in contract. It'd cost £1 million, I think, firstly.
Not us as a League Two team, mate. No chance.
He's not playing in League Two, no chance.
He's still got another 2 years, aren't he?
It'll be 400 grand, 400 grand and a 10% sell on. That's what it'll be.
Okay. Billy Ullman, I'd love Dango on loan again next season. I said I can't see I'd learn him to play League Two football. It would be great if you can pull it off though. Yeah. So as Scott says there, Billy, Dango is out of contract. So and Man United have confirmed that they won't be offering him a new contract. So he will be on a free. We've already discussed it. Obviously, I'd recommend you go back and watch the podcast, because we've already discussed Dango and whether or not he will be here next season. Paul Rigby, Rob Scott brought in some quite players in over the years and would not get rid. And Paul, I fully agree. That's what I was saying, to be fair. Right. We've got an hour now. We'll quickly look at Reading. I mean, do we really have to? But yes, we do have to. So we've got Reading, our last home game of the season. We've already heard Tom pray and open pray that they don't bring the families out and walk around ground. And I do think it'd be a bit embarrassing if they did do that, because I think there'll be no one there. Yeah, they'll be clapping one man and his dog. And I'm going to match, but I won't be staying for them to walk around, if that's what they do. The problem is, Tom, you can't get players if they do that, because they're told to do that by the club. So they will have to do it, unfortunately. I'll not be there clapping it. Right, Reading at home. So Reading, obviously, manager is an ex-Rotherham manager, Liam Richardson, who is under pressure. What are you laughing at?
I'm saying Liam
All right.
Richardson.
Yeah, so Liam Richardson, ex-Rotherham manager, obviously first time back at the New York Stadium with his team. They are 10th in the league, 9 points off the playoffs, which means that they can't get in the playoffs now, which, as I was saying on the League One predictions, massively disappointed with Reading. I really thought they'd get that 6th spot and win the playoffs, and they ended up nowhere near. I do think something's happened though. I think from what Lee was saying, something the club's happened. There's been some fallout, and it's obviously affected the players, and that's why they've dropped down. And maybe that's a good news for Rotherham. Maybe we can get a win. They scored 63 goals, 8th best in the league, or joint 8th. They conceded 58, which is 12th best, again, mid-table where they are in the league pretty much. Last 5 games is won 1, drawn 1, and lost 3. So, yeah, not in good form at all. And their top goal scorer, a player that we should have looked at but didn't, Jack Murray at 16 goals. I'll start with you, Pete. Thoughts on the game, if you even care. What do you think the score will be?
I think we'll end up winning. I think we'll win 2-1. I think he's under some rate pressure, Richardson, isn't he? Proper pressure on him. I looked on X, and there's some fans calling for his head, isn't there? So yeah, I think we'll do it. I think we'll do him 2-1.
Do you not think that he'll come and be desperate for a result because he will feel he got treated really poorly at Rotherham?
Yeah, true. Yeah, but it's not players. It's not the players. It's the manager in it. So I just think we'll roll them over.
Okay.
I like Lewis Swing in midfield. Obviously, if he plays, it might be an hour game, but I think we'll beat him.
Okay. Tom, positive. Your thoughts and your score prediction?
First and foremost, I think Liam Richardson's a great coach. He pipped us the title of Wigan all them years ago. He was given a chance at us, and I wish that the board was as trigger happy this season as they were that season, and then we might not be discussing us being in League 2 next season. Having said that, Reading, I've got nothing to play for now, really. So, you know what? We've got some players, young players in our team who have got something to play for, being professional footballers first and foremost. I'm going a 2-1 victory to Rotherham United.
Okay. I'll give my score in a minute because someone down there has actually got my score, so I will say it when I come to him. Right, Russ. So, Russ, to be fair, before I read this, I do love you posting, and I'll make sure you do keep posting. I do feel that I'm disagreeing with you a lot. I don't mean to. I'm just giving my opinion, so don't think I don't dislike anything like that. I'm just giving my opinion. Right, Russ, how can recruitment with Scott be decent when he's allowed to bring injury-prone players, i.e. Benson, and players with injury history? I go for an interview to a job and tell them I have back trouble. They wouldn't want to know, so why we've been allowed to bring players in what aren't going to be available regularly due to injury history. And Russ, you're completely right. Absolutely right. Now, I'm telling you that Rob Scott won't have made that decision on whether they bring a player in. So what Rob Scott will have done is he'll have said, right, here's a player. This kid's Josh Benson. This kid's qualities are this, and this. However, he's injury prone. It's then up to the manager, I think, or maybe a group decision. Manager, maybe Rob Scott included, the chairman, Paul Douglas, all get included, and they will say, right, we've got this player who's very good, but he's injury prone. Should we take a risk and sign him? And they'll all make a decision. So it won't be Rob Scott who, as I said, it was purely made the decision to bring this kid in, Josh Benson in. I mean, let's face it, everyone here can agree that Josh Benson is a quality football player.
100%, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, he's brilliant. He's absolutely, every time I watch him, he's brilliant. But you're right, Russ, he's injury prone. So to me, the only thing Rotherham did wrong in the recruitment remark was, I think you can give an injury-prone player a chance to perform. Like, if we had everyone who's fit and then Josh Benson was a question mark because of injury, his injury history, I'd be happy for them to say, yeah, let's bring him in. We've got enough place to cover. Where Rotherham's gone wrong is that they've took a gamble on too many players. They've took a gamble on not one injury-prone player, but 10. And you can't do that. And I think that's where they've gone wrong. So, yeah, I get your point, Russ, but I think that Rob Scott went and made that decision. He'll have just scouted the player and said that this player is good, and he has got an injury record. It's up to you Matt Hampshire or the chairman or whoever to sign him. And I would also add as well, he was a free transfer, so he's a low risk as well, as a lot of these transfers were. So, what Rotherham might have hoped for is that, bringing 10 injury-prone players, hopefully 2 or 3 or 4 can play enough and then also, sell on for a big fee. Because Josh Benson, I guarantee if he could play in most games, he would be a championship player. I honestly believe that. Tom, what was you going to say? Sorry.
Another analogy would be, imagine if you were a porn star and obviously you're the best porn star there is, but sadly you've got erectile dysfunction here and there. What would you do? You come to perform on the day, oh no, he's injured, he can't get it up, blah blah blah. But you are the best porn star. Would you still sign the best porn star?
Tom, that's the worst analogy I've ever heard in my life. Right, okay, thanks for that, Tom. Paul, a winter Rotherham. Yeah, hope you're right, Paul. Rick Top, evening chap, 2-1 home win. Yeah, I think that's what Pete said. Ray Chuff, regardless of the result, if the players walk around clapping on the full-time whistle there, then fair enough. If they go down the tunnel and come back out with their families, that would be embarrassing. And yeah, that's a good point, actually, because, what they do normally do, actually, is they do go down the tunnel, don't they get the families and come back on. And I think you're right, actually, there. What they are better doing is, the game ends, go round the stands straight away, because there'll be more fans there anyway, clap them, and then go off. I think you're right. I think that's exactly what I'd do as well.
No, sprint round and go that like you've done all season, and then get in your cars and bugger off. That's what I'd say.
Paul Digby, and this is the result I'm going for, 1-1. I think it'll be a draw as well, Paul. Bricktop should never have got a Liam Richardson. We would have been back in the championship now. Wow. Pete, come on, Pete, what are your thoughts on that?
It's a statement, that, isn't it?
Agree?
I don't think we're back in championship, no. But I don't think we'll be relegated.
Exactly. I'm with you on that.
Okay. Neil, final home match against Reading, be a draw, 1-1. Yeah, agree with myself. Scott, a club we beat 7-2 could be above us next season. Salford coming third, being top of the league. Yeah, I'm watching that in the background as well, Scott. So yeah, that is a bit incredible to be fair, isn't it? Tom Swift, with the physicality of League Two, Benson won last one game. And yeah, Tom, you're probably right. And we will probably do, after the season's ended, as I've already mentioned, we'll do like a review of the season, and we'll also preview next season, and we'll give our, if you like, opinions on whether we think we would keep this person, keep that player, get rid of that player, and we'll see how close we all are to what actually happens a week or two later. So that's pretty much it then for today's podcast. Thanks to everyone who's watched. Again, the views have slowly gone up, and they've got up to a decent level now. So thank you all for watching and all your comments, and all season really. Obviously, we're a brand new podcast that started this year. It's only been going, 8-9 months. And with the views that we get in this early is incredible. So that's all down to you guys who are watchers, and we do really appreciate it. Now, I did mention 2 or 3 months ago that we'd do some sort of competition. Now, the reason I cannot mention it after is because obviously Rotherham weren't performing very well, and the last thing that our Rotherham fans want is, some voucher for the shop. So what we'll do is I will do something next year at the start of the year. So anyone who wants a brand new shirt or whatever, we'll do some sort of competition, a Rotherham United one. We'll get you guys involved, and you've got a chance of winning £50, £60, whatever it might be, voucher. But I'll give more details leading up to next season. So yeah, everyone, thanks for joining. Pete, thanks for joining once again.
Can I just say something, Bez?
You can go for it.
QR code here for Legends game. Make sure you scan it and get your tickets.
Is there? That's right on my side. Yeah.
Yeah. See the Legends play. Get scanning.
Yeah, and yeah, that's true. To be fair, yeah, get scanning. It's all in for good charity, and we've got a lot of fantastic Rotherham ex-players and legends and what have you. So yeah, make sure you do that. Last few comments. Evening evening, by the way, chaps. Hope you had a good show. Let's hope for a win. And let's get home season. Yeah. Russ, brilliant, Tom. So he likes that. He likes you for that, Tom. Tom Swift, 1-1. Won't be staying to let them off. And yeah, I don't blame you, Tom, to be fair. And that's all the comments. So once again, thanks, everyone. Pete, thank you. Tom, thank you once again. You're always here. As I always say at the end of every podcast, up the Millers. Let's hope
the Millers.
Result at the weekend. Cheers, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.